Premier Sihle Zikalala is currently briefing the media on the reconstruction of councils following the local government elections. Zikalala will also provide an update on COVID-19, the upcoming Intra-African Trade Fair 2021, the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa conference, and the resuscitation of the economy. Let's take you there live. All right, we don't have audio yet from the Premier, but all right, he's back. Let's take you there live.
Members of the media, government officials who are with us, colleagues and compatriots who are following us on the social media, thank you very much for joining this visual media briefing, which afford us the opportunity to speak on many recent developments in the province. It is in the interest of our society and an indication of our commitment to clean, accountable, and transparent government that we speak openly and transparently on all matters of provincial importance. We wish to commence by expressing our gratitude to all people of KwaZulu-Natal for the recent local government elections, which was largely held in a climate of peace, tolerance, and acceptance of each other's right to campaign and to vote freely. While we are concerned about the number of people who chose not to participate in these elections, we are nevertheless pleased that our society seems to be coming of age. It is indeed a sign of maturing of our democratic order and a mark of social progress that our election no longer have many incidents of political violence and intolerance. This is certainly something that we need to build on and consolidate as we march forth as a country and the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Even in the few incidents where political leaders were assassinated ahead of the elections, we remain very committed and confident that the law will indeed take its full course. Because even one murder is just one too many. And that's why we say we will continue to follow and ensure that the law take its full course. Regarding the outcomes of the elections itself, the people of KwaZulu-Natal have spoken and declared that there should be no outright winner. This is a clear message that they want political parties to work together through the democratically process of co-governing KwaZulu-Natal. Now that elections are behind us, we would like to appeal to all political parties to be united and work together. We must never lose sight of the fact that we have a province to develop, a country to grow. This is something that no political party can achieve in isolation from the rest of the society. Since last week, Monday's elections, we've noted a few unpleasant scenes in which certain people were seen toy-toying and others demanding keys to certain buildings. Others were engaging in other forms of provocation. These were accompanied by insult hailed at municipal officials who are public servants and not politicians. We want to remind all citizens that public servants are employed in line with relevant legislations governing employment in South Africa, including the Labor Relations Act. Therefore, they must be allowed to discharge their duties without any interference or victimization. Any practices to the contrary may be reported to the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs so that these incidents can be dealt with immediately. We live in a constitutional democracy which is underpinned by the rule of law. The Constitution envisages and demands that political transition must always take place in a manner that is smooth, democratic, and procedural. While it is natural for people to want to celebrate victory, none must do so by infringing on the right of others and at the risk of polarizing others section of our society. Elections are behind us now. It is time for us to build unity and to recharge the institutions that are necessary for us to serve the communities better. We therefore take this opportunity to update the public on timelines for reconstitutions of council. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we have 21 municipalities that must be co-governed by different political parties. As the relevant democratic processes to achieve this transition are currently underway. We want to emphasize that until these processes have been concluded, and new councils and councillors are sworn in all currently constituted structures remains in place. Our constitution does not allow for a vacuum and requires a smooth democratic handover from one administration to the next. Today, the Minister of Culture, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, will publish the 2021 local government result in the Government Gazette. As required by the Constitution, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs under MEC Shomuka has set up a program and a support plan to ensure that all councils are reconstituted as required by the Constitution. In this regard, COGTA will work with all affected municipalities to reconstitute the councils and facilitate the elections of office bearers. As per the requirement of the Municipal Structures Act, we have a plan in place to ensure that all municipalities meet the legal deadline, which requires them to reconstitute themselves within 14 days after the gazetting of the election results by the Minister of Culture. While we plan to do our best to support and facilitate a smooth transition, we are by no means underestimating the challenges that may arise in the hung municipalities. We trust that parties will continue to persuade each other and avoid political theatrics that may end up paralyzing municipalities and hamper the delivery of services. No one should drop the baton, for it is the very same lives of our people which we seek to ensure that it is developed. As elected representatives, we need to waste no time in ensuring that we finalize this process within the set time frame. COGTA has also advised that immediately after elections, together with SALGA, they will conduct a councillors induction training program. This is intended to capacitate councillors with the understanding of their leadership role, legislation which is applicable to local government, key municipal processes, and the key concepts such as the district development model and the community-centered service delivery. We have noted with absolute dismay people spreading false claims that our country's national lockdown was downgraded only to allow for the elections to take place, and that after elections, government will bring back the hard lockdown. What is even more worrying is that even educated members of the society who must know better were also making these claims. As far as we're concerned, these are just baseless allegations. Even though our COVID-19 numbers are fluctuating, there is nothing that suggests that there will soon be a hard lockdown. The only time that this can happen is when there is a sudden large increase in the number of confirmed cases. Decisions on coronavirus are informed by medical and science advice. This is precisely why it is crucial for everyone to continue adhering to safety protocol while ensuring that as many people as possible get vaccinated. Maybe turning to the update on COVID-19 for this week, we're pleased and relieved that the rate of infections in our province remain relatively low. Although it keeps fluctuating up and down, the number of confirmed cases currently stand at 515,892. Sadly, 14,770 people have lost their life due to the pandemic. May their soul rest in peace. In the latest 24-hour reporting period, which is Sunday, 7 November, we had 64 new cases. Prior to that, on Saturday, we had 48 new cases, while on Friday, we had 63 new cases, and on Thursday, we had 41 new cases. We are still not happy with the rate of infection in the we are still not happy with the rate of vaccination, rather. Up to this point, 3.3 million people have vaccinated. This leaves us with a total of 4.7 million people to vaccinate by the end of this year, which is no small job. While we are pleased that 955,048 people from the age 60 and above have been vaccinated, we are concerned by relatively low numbers within the 35 to 49 and 18 to 34 age groups. Within these two age groups, we have recorded 463,466 vaccinations out of 731,030 people who are registered, and 568,816 vaccination out of 651,000 people who are registered respectively. We will take you through the vaccination percentage overall. In terms of the healthcare workers, those who are registered are 141,786, and those who have been vaccinated are 87%. From 60 and above, the registered are 661,358. The percentage of those who have vaccinated is 69%. For 50 to 59, registered is 402,037 people. And the vaccination rate is standing at 50%. For people who are registered between the age of 30 to 49, no, 35 to 49, those who are registered are 731,030, and the vaccination, the percentage is 24. And 30 to 49, those who have vaccinated, the percentage, as I've said, is 15. Those who have registered between the age of 18 to 34 is 651,584, but the vaccinated percentage is 23.7%. And between 12 and 17, 32,126 people registered, and those who have vaccinated is 0.7%. So the total number of public and private first dose that have been taken is around 33.6%. And so far, as I indicated earlier, we have vaccinated people who are just above 3.3 million. When it comes to increased vaccination numbers, 3 out of every 5 people aged over 50 years in our country are now vaccinated. We need to get to 5 out of 5 of such vaccinated age group by the end of the year to kill the power of the anticipated 4th wave. The upcoming Vuma vaccination weekend from the 12th to the 14th November is an opportunity for unvaccinated people to join our nation's effort against COVID-19 by taking the free vaccines at any of the vaccination sites across the country. We wish to take this opportunity to remind people to ensure that they take a second dose of the Pfizer vaccine to be fully protected. Vaccines help prevent serious illness, hospitalization, or death from COVID-19. As the provincial government, we have devised the strategy to increase the number of people who are vaccinated. We must, however, hasten to add that even the best strategy is as good as the support that it gets from all the people who need to get vaccinated, so that we can then afford severe illness from this virus. Let us all take the vaccines. Let's vaccinate. We wish to reiterate that when you get vaccinated, you are not going to do it for government's sake or to satisfy travel requirements. You are doing it to primarily give your body the ability to successfully fight the virus in the event you get infected. And therefore, it is important that we all vaccinate. We have received a number of unconfirmed reports indicating that some people are selling vaccination certificates. Naturally, we find this extremely concerning as it defeats the very same purpose behind the vaccination process. We therefore want to warn those individuals who are even thinking of engaging in this kind of behavior, which is grossly irresponsible and also criminal. We urge anyone with evidence of the sale of COVID-19 vaccines to contact law enforcement authorities as well as the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Health. We assure them that this information will be treated in the strictest confidence. With regard to the upcoming activities that will try to rejuvenate the economy of the province, as KwaZulu-Natal, we are excited and ready to host the 2021 Intra-African Trade Fair, which will be held in Durban from the 15th to the 21st of November 2021. Hosted by the African Bank in collaboration with the African Union and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat, the trade fair is expected to yield massive economic spin-off for KwaZulu-Natal and the country as a whole. It will also attract high-level delegations, including heads of state from the continent. We estimate that the Intra-African Trade Fair 2021 will attract 10,000 buyers and sellers, 1,100 exhibitors, and will result in about $40 billion in trade deals. The hosting of this event also augurs well for our economic recovery and reconstruction plan. The economic impact of hosting this event is expected to be as follows. Total direct spend will be around 335 million and the contribution to the GDP will be around 580 million, and people who will at least get employed during that period will be more than 1,200. So we invite you, the media, to come and report about this mega African continental event which seeks to promote intra-trade among the African states. Compatriots, we are pleased to be hosting the 21st International Conference for AIDS and STIs in Africa, ICASA, which will be held at Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center from the 6th to the 11th of December. This conference brings together scientists, policymakers, communities, activists, and people living with HIV as we all rededicate our efforts to the ideal and promote and to the ideal and the promise of an Africa which is free of AIDS, of HIV and AIDS. In partnership with the Society on AIDS in Africa, a tireless advocate for social justice and expansion of quality treatment, care, and support for people living with HIV and AIDS. The ICASA conference will give us an opportunity to examine our strategies and impact in reducing HIV infections in key populations, as well as among vulnerable groups like girls and women aged between 15 and 24. Our hosting is an opportunity to share our many success stories in the battle against HIV, AIDS, TB, and STIs, having been the province with the highest burden of HIV in South Africa. Even as we battle COVID-19, it is important that we do not take our eyes off the HIV and AIDS pandemic. Let us seize the moment and be known as a generation that is known for delivering an AIDS-free Africa. It is all in our hands. Let us unite in the fight against HIV and AIDS. As we went to the local government elections on the 1st of November, the world started gathering at the Scottish city of Glasgow for the historic COP26 climate change talk. The Premier of KwaZulu-Natal is currently co-chair for the Africa region at the Under 2 Coalition for Climate Change, which is an association of subnational states and provinces focusing on climate change led by co-chairs from different continents. KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa are already experiencing significant impact of climate change, particularly as a result of increased temperatures and rainfall's variability. Our country is said to be warming at a more than twice the global rate of average temperature increase. In this regard, KwaZulu-Natal is participating in mitigation measures which include carbon budget, sectoral emission targets, and carbon tax, which all make up South Africa's mitigation system. We join our government in calling for a well-resourced, just transition to shift to low-carbon technologies while maximizing the benefit of climate mitigation and adaptation. And in this regard, we will continue to advocate for industrialization and pleading for conglomerates to adapt in terms of industrialization strategy to embrace, in particular, the green energy. We also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Egypt's famous Sharm el-Sheikh city for being named the host of COP27 to be held in 2022. Sharm el-Sheikh will become the second city in Africa to host the all-important global gathering after the COP17 that was held here in Durban in November 2011. We therefore congratulate the people of Egypt and hope that they will make COP27 the best in Africa and for Africans and the world. As we conclude, we wish to remind all citizens that our actions today, including the choice whether or not to vaccinate and wearing masks, sanitizing our hands regularly, and maintaining social distancing will determine our future. The choice to get vaccinated today and to recruit others to do the same will mean we have a happier and a safe festive season. It will mean we are spared the pain and the anguish of losing loved ones on a large scale like we saw during December holidays last year. So the ball is in our court to do the right thing and get vaccinated. Let us all get vaccinated and ensure that we get our relatives, friends, and colleagues, and the society at large to ensure that we get vaccinated, but continue to embrace all safety protocols against COVID-19. I thank you, facilitator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, for the statement. We are going to go straight for questions, colleagues. I will get an indication of hands here, but let's take the question, the first round of questions, and then the Premier and Honorable MECs are going to be responding. If I'm challenged, colleague, just go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Lena. May I ask?
Yes, go ahead, Desri. I know you, Karinda, we are the next. Go ahead, Desri. Please, colleagues, if the questions can be confined to the media briefing, anything related to politically, I think the political parties will have their own sessions. Let's just focus on the government side of the electoral process and the contents of the briefing. Thank you. Over to you, Desri and Karinda.
Thanks, Lennox. This question is actually for COCTA MEC, and I just want to know, given these tight timelines, and if you compare it to the last local government elections, do you have enough staff to ensure that these coalition talks run smoothly? And if you can just run us through exactly what will be done, giving a very specific timeline. And also using the last local election results outcomes as a base point. Where are you expecting problems in which municipalities, given? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, colleague Desri. Let's go to colleague Karinda and then Sabelo. Please also introduce your media house and where you come from. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's Karinda here from Newsroom Africa. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Premier. My question actually for the COCTA MEC. So, we have been covering several protests on the ground today as well as last week by residents of eThekwini who are unhappy with the IEC, saying they've lodged complaints to the IEC about the electoral process and glitches in the system, but they haven't heard back. MEC, are you planning to intervene in this? Is there anything coming from the KZN COCTA department with regards to the IEC's apparent glitches and the citizens' unhappiness over what's happened with the elections? Thank you.
Thank you. Colleague Sabelo, go ahead.
Ngiyabonga ithuba uSabelo Ntsele kwiSolezwe. Mine is simple. As a provincial government, do you have any plans to engage lama communities adube ukhetho, ama communities afana nako Mkhambathini, nako Mzinto kanje, to listen to their concerns? Also, do you regret not engaging with these communities before our elections, because especially Mkambatini, because they had a march before our elections to the Premier's office, and they felt Uchama issues were not resolved in Gosuglama elections. That is why they did not participate to local elections.
Okay, thank you very much. May I request colleagues to lower their hands? There's one that I've received on the chat side of this platform here, which is coming from one KZN, and I think it's directed to the Honorable MEC for Health. It's saying it's coming from Upeshas Mvubu from one KZN. My question is posed to the MEC for Health regarding Vuma grocery vouchers aimed at encouraging older people to vaccinate. The amount is 100 Rand. Why 100 Rand? People on the ground regard this as a kind of an insult. So that one is from Vuma, directed to the MEC for Health. We'll take this as the first round of questions, and then we'll take the final round in order to be on time for the next engagement of the Premier and the Honorable MECs, which is at 11. I will hand over to the Honorable Premier and MECs for responses. Thank you.
Thanks. I think. Thank you, Mr.
May I request that we mute?
I think I will take the first question, or the first and the third question. The first is about where do we expect problems? Look, given the nature and the experience we have seen about coalitions, you will expect challenges where maybe parties are all below 30% or around 35%. And then you've got a number of parties that must be involved in setting up one municipality. It therefore means that you will not have one party negotiating with another party, but it means you will have few parties having to engage and agree on how to constitute the municipality. That normally takes time because you are now dealing with self-interest of parties, and they will need to bargain and accommodate each other. And you will have politics of parties also. So we will expect more challenges from those municipalities that are at least affected and having many parties that got little percentage. So that is the first and the last question. Communities, I think firstly we must condemn in strongest terms those communities who denied other people their right to vote, let alone of incidents that happened in KwaNyavu, where one lady was even killed for having gone to vote. The right to vote should be protected, and all individuals must be allowed to vote. So we condemn in strongest terms the denial and depriving people their right to vote. I must conclude by saying the issue of KwaNyavu is not about service delivery, nor about the functions of government per se. It is an issue about the traditional leadership dispute. And that dispute must be understood. Government does not determine who becomes either the chief or a leader in a traditional setup. Government assists the family to determine and then regulate the process. But the entire process rests with that clan and its royal house. Now, government is dragged in this issue when people are in dispute. They want to drag government into that. And once government comes in, government will have to follow the law as it is. And then people will begin to say, no, we are taking sides. For instance, if you've got a dispute, government must ensure that that dispute is resolved through the prescript. And the prescript will tell you that, no, you must have the mediation team, or you must have umndeni meeting and finalizing. They will even have a problem. They will dispute the candidate. They will also dispute who is umndeni. So government must start to deal with all of those things. And those are issues that belong to our respective traditional authorities, and they must help us resolve those problems rather than shifting those problems to government. And as government, when we intervene, we will use and follow the law as it is, and not be, we cannot succumb to any pressure, but we will have to follow the law so that even if any party that remains discontent take us to court, we will be able to stand the test of the time. And therefore, it must be clear, we are not the one who regulate traditional authorities. They themselves have to lead and ensure that they assist us. And we would want to call for peace in all areas. Gone is the time where traditional dispute would be resolved through violence. We want to see people enjoying peace all over in the province. Thank you, and the colleagues will take other questions. I'm sure MEC Tomuga will start because he's here.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Greetings to all MECs present and to the viewers. I think I only have one question raised, a question about the resident of eThekwini who strike because of the unhappiness about the IEC. Look, we have a responsibility to engage community at large, irrespective of the matter that are raising, even though they are complaining about IEC or any other matter. We've already started the process of engaging the communities. Here in eThekwini, we have a unity that is called Rapid Response, but also I am going to engage those community members. Hence, we request them to not strike, but to have a way of engaging in a way of a peaceful, because we don't want to enter to a process where people now, they are fighting with the law enforcement agencies, hence we are engaging with them. And we are going also to engage IEC, but you must also note that results are already verified and announced by IEC, hence the Premier already indicated that the Minister of Culture is going to gazette all results and will then start the process of formulation or establishment of a council within 40 days, as the Premier indicated. But in summary, yes, indeed, we are going to engage with the community or the resident and also engage the IEC to deal with the comments or the challenges that have been raised by the people of eThekwini. Thank you very much, Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, as we invite the Honorable MEC for health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mabaso. Good morning to the Premier, good morning to the colleagues, and good morning to everyone that is in this meeting. I only have one question that I need to respond to that relates to the vouchers. I must firstly indicate, Premier, that the vouchers or the voucher strategy is one of the strategies that are employed by the National Department of Health in ensuring that it encourages communities to come out and vaccinate. So it is one of those strategies that have been employed, and the government has quite a few that has been employed to ensure that people are really encouraged to vaccinate. We have seen that the age group of 60 and above, for quite a long time, we had a low turnout when it comes to vaccinating, and National then decided that it needed to come up with a strategy to ensure that people are getting vaccinated. So this is one of those strategies. Well, I do not believe that the intention of the national government was to insult the elderly or was to insult communities, but it was by way of encouraging and showing that government cares, and making sure that people do come out to get vaccinated, and as a result they would get those vouchers on their phones. Now, we have also not received many complaints or any complaint really about those particular vouchers. People have actually really appreciated the fact that they have been getting the vouchers as part of their a way of encouraging them to vaccinate. I will raise the matter with the national minister if there have been some complaints, but I must say that we have not received any. Thank you very much, Premier.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premier and Honourable MECs. We are going to take the final round of questions. I noted your hand, Kolile Pengu, and colleague Desiree is raising an issue that you would like the MEC to, Honourable MEC for Kokta to indicate the municipalities that are suspect of probably being much more chaotic than the others. I see colleague Karinda as well. So colleague you will start, and then Karinda will make a follow-up. In that order, please.
Morning, Mr. Mbasu. Thank you. I think the MEC has already answered my question. I also wanted to ask about the vouchers. But the only second question I have is whether, with such a low vaccine turnout with adults, are you expecting parents to bring their children forward?
Okay, thank you, Koil. I'm not sure if we got you. You said with such a low voter turnout, are we?
The low vaccine turnout.
Oh, vaccine turnout. Okay.
Yeah. Are you expecting parents to bring their children forward, since it's also been open for the age group of 12 and above?
Okay. Since the vaccine turnout is low, are we expecting parents to bring their children for vaccination? I think that's the gist of the question. Colleague Karinda?
Yes, thank you. Just on the back of Desiree's question, Premier, have you received any reports of possible protests that could take place in the next 2 weeks as we prepare to introduce new councils? I mean, what happened during the unrest is that we were told that government was prepared, and clearly following those sporadic protests that grew into looting, there was nothing government could do. Are you aware of any protests that could happen in so-called chaotic councils? Are men in blue on the ground to assist with that if residents are unhappy? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over to the Honourable Premier and Honourable MECs for responses again.
Thank you very much again, Honourable Premier and Mr. Mabaso. On the question that we have a sufficient staff in Project Kokta to deal with council. Look, when we deal with establishment of council, we work as a provincial government. And indeed, we have already developed a plan which includes all government employees, but also led by officials from Kokta. So in summary, we do have a sufficient staff in provincial government to deal with all municipalities, not only Hang municipalities, because Hang municipalities are also part of 54 municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal. I'm not sure, Mr. Mabaso, if I have answered all questions, but I think the question that was outstanding is the one that talk about sufficient staff.
Yeah, no, thanks, all MEC. We have answered the question. I think quite fairly to you, we cannot preempt which municipalities are going to have a problem, but the plan that the MEC has alluded to, I think it is a guiding roadmap. We'll hand over to the MEC for health and then invite the Honorable Premier for a response and also a summary in isiZulu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mabaso. In relation to the vaccination of the 12-year-olds to 17, yes, the government has issued that call to parents to actually bring their children to come and vaccinate. And the strategy is that they only get one jab. Well, they get the Pfizer firstly, but they get one jab of the Pfizer because the scientists have advised in that particular fashion. I must indicate that during the first 3 days of the call to vaccinate 12 to 17-year-olds, we had vaccinated close to 3,000 young people or 3,000 children. But as of today, the latest report says we have vaccinated 15,000 children, and that is in about 14 days. Obviously, it's clear that the uptake is not as we had expected it to be, but we believe it might be affected by the fact that schools are still open and children are actually writing their exams. We have seen, however, that on holidays, parents have been coming to our facilities and have been bringing their children. We've seen that over the weekends, parents have been bringing their children. Some of the parents, they actually bring 2 or 3 of their kids to come and vaccinate, and we are quite excited by the uptake. We believe that as soon as the exams are over and schools have probably closed, parents will actually bring more of their children into our vaccination site, because they also don't want to disrupt their learning, their teaching and learning times, and also they don't want to disrupt their exams. So we are at this point quite comfortable with the number of children who have been vaccinated. We believe by the end of the exams, we will see a bigger uptake as parents bring their children, or more parents bring their children into come and vaccinate. Thank you, Mr. Babas.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. We invite the Honorable Premier for a response to the questions posed to him and also a summary in isiZulu as we move towards wrapping up. Thank you.
Let me start by adding. Let me add on one question that communities are protesting about elections. Elections are conducted through a process of the Electoral Act. And therefore, if there is someone who's not happy with the outcome or the process, there is a process to appeal. And in South Africa, you do have a right to appeal and lodge your own complaint. It does not help to engage in a mass protest instead of following the logical process that seeks to provide a platform for your grievance to be heard. So I would want to emphasize that. Have we heard about a planned chaotic strike or protest? Not yet, but safe to say there are many reports in the social media which are reporting of potential strikes and protests. All of those are followed. We are on a high alert as government. We cannot be again ambushed by what we experienced in July. And therefore we treat everything with serious alert and scrutiny. So we will be looking on that also to check on that kind of mobilization. Mhlambe ukusummarize ngesizulu, siyafisa ukubonga ukuba naleli thuba lokuthi sikwazi uku-update abantu bakwaZulu-Natal ngezinto ezenzekayo esifundazweni. Sifisa futhi ukubonga kakhulu ngoba abezindaba bayasilekelela ukuthi sihlale eqinisweni nasemgomeni wokuthi njalo njengohulumeni sithulele abantu ukuthi kwenzekani ngokuzibophezela ekutheni sibe accountable kubantu bakwaZulu-Natal. Masiqale ngokubonga abantu bakwaZulu-Natal neSouth Africa yonke abaye kovota. Sibonge futhi ukuthi abantu bakithi benze ukhetho lwabaheli nokuthula nentando yeningi. Sibonile nokho ukuthi kube khona igigaba engezinhle la abanye abantu beathekwe khona nama-candidate amanye aze abulawo. Sithi umthetho kumele uqinise isandla uthathe indawo yakhe. Sibonile futhi ukuthi
We're coming out of the briefing by the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala. They're talking about the outcomes of the elections, saying that 21 municipalities that need to be co-governed in KwaZulu-Natal, and pleading with politicians, saying that please avoid the political theatrics and let's just work on talking about these coalitions. I don't know what do you think? Will it happen? Will the politicians stop the theatrics? Let us know at the agenda _SABC. But also saying that the rate of infections of COVID-19 remains relatively low in the province, saying that the vaccination rate is 50%. An interesting figure that came out just now from the MEC for Health in KwaZulu-Natal, Nomagugu Smelani, saying that 15,000 children have been vaccinated since the vaccination drive started for children started in that province. And also that talking about the Intra-African Trade Fair that's going to be taking place in 2021, hosted by the province of KwaZulu-Natal, saying that 335 million could be what the province gains should this go ahead successfully. And also an interesting one, Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh will